class. Today we're looking at Chapter 3-4, solving two-step inequalities. So when you lose something, you often undo or trace your steps in reverse order to find it. You can solve a two-step inequality by using inverse operations and the properties of inequalities to get the variable alone on one side of the inequality. For many inequalities, you undo the addition or subtraction first. Then you undo the multiplication or division. These are the same steps you'll follow when solving a two-step equation. So, our first thing is undo the addition first. So here is our equation. A over 4 plus 3 is smaller than or equal to -2. So first thing is we want to subtract 3 from both sides. So we have A over 4 plus 3 minus 3 equals -2 minus 3. So this side is going to cross out because +3 minus 3 equals 0. This one, if you have a negative and you're subtracting 3 more, it's like adding them together, but they're both going to be negative. So this is going to equal -5. And you have A over 4. So now we're going to multiply each side by 4. That's going to get rid of it here. Whatever we do to that side, we have to do to this side. So these get crossed out. We're left with A is greater or less than or equal to -5 times 4 equals -20. So then they want us to graph it. So here we are. It's going to be a closed circle because it's less than or equal to -20. We see that our inequality is going this direction, which means that's the way our arrow is going to go. There we go. So why don't you try this next one? Solve and graph -5 plus c over 3 is greater than -1. Okay. So you should have got C is bigger than 12. And notice my graphing, it's an open circle and the arrow is going to the right. Okay, so now we're going to look at undoing subtraction first and then solve and graph. So we have -3.5x minus 6 is greater than -1.8. So first thing we're going to do, add 6 to both sides. -6, the opposite of -6 is +6. Okay, so these are going to cross out. That'll equal 0. So simplify, we are left with -3.5x is bigger than, so now 6, and this is a -1.8. That's the same thing as going 6 minus 1.8. So you're going to equal 4.2. Okay, so now we want to divide both sides by -3.5. So this is one of the tricky parts that you learned yesterday. So if we are dividing by a -3.5, this has to get switched around. okay, because we're dividing or multiplying by a negative. Adding and subtracting, it does not change, but dividing and multiplying, it does. So this gets crossed out. We're left with x is less than, and if we take 4.2 and divide by 3.5, we're left with a negative 1.2. Okay, so then they want us to graph that. So here is negative 1.2. It is going to be an open circle because it is not equal to. Our inequality is going that way, so that's the way that our arrow is going to point. There you go. Okay, go ahead and try the second one on your own. Okay, so you should have got 9/10 is smaller than or equal to a. But for the graphing purposes, the variable has to be on the left side for the inequality to show us what way the arrow's pointing. Okay, so I switched them around, and when I put the a over to this side, it made this switch because the inequality is eating the a, so I had to make sure that it did it like that, which then showed me that the arrow was pointing this direction. Okay, so here's an application. A phone plan charges 20 cents per text message plus a monthly fee of $42.50. Lynn can spend at most $50. Write an inequality for the number of text messages Lynn can send and describe the solution. So we're going to say that she's paying first the $42.50 plus 0.2, so 20 cents per text. And we want to see what that is. Lynn can spend at the most. So the most it can be is $50. So therefore, we want it to be at the most, so it could be less than or equal to 50. So this is our equation. So write an inequality. This is the inequality to describe the solution. So we need to see, let's solve it so that we can describe it. So we want to get the $42.50 on the other side, so let's subtract it from both sides. So these get crossed out, so now we have 20 cents t is less than or equal to $7.50. We're going to divide because that's the opposite of multiplying. 20 cents. And when we divide 7.50 by 20 cents, we get 37.5. Well, you can't send a half of a text. It's either a full or not. So the answer is 37 texts. Okay. So this equation plus 37 texts. So there are more than one way to solve some of these things. You want to buy a new tablet that costs at least $450. You have already saved $130. You want to save the same amount each month for the next 4 months to have enough money for the tablet. What is the least amount you need to save? So Lee says, I'll use number sense. I know that I have saved $130 already. Since the tablet costs at least $450, I will need $450 subtract $130, at least $320. I will save the same amount for 4 months, so each month I must save at least $320 divided by 4, which is $80. So Olivia says, I'll write and solve an inequality. Let S equal the amount of money I still need to save each month. Then 4S is the total amount I need to save. Savings needed, 4S. Savings on hand, plus the 130. And it has to be more than or equal to 450. So we need to solve. So we are going to subtract 130 from each side. We're left with 4S is greater than or equal to 320. We want to get rid of the 4, so we divide from each side. And we're left with S is greater than or equal to 80. So I need to save at least 80 each week. Either way is fine to solve, whatever works for you. So go ahead and try this one on your own. You want to buy some t-shirts and a pair of shorts at one store. T-shirts cost $10 each and shorts cost $20 each. You do not want to spend more than $85. How many can you buy? Okay, so you could have done, there's $85. I'm going to buy one pair of shorts, so that's $20. So I'm left with $65 divided by 10 equals 6.5, but you can't buy a half a shorts or a half a shirt. So 6 is the most you could buy. Or you could create an equation, 10T, the cost of the t-shirts times how many t-shirts plus one pair of shorts is the 20, is greater than or equal to 85. Get rid of the 20 on each side. You are left with 10T is greater than or equal to 65. Get rid of the 10 by dividing on each side. T is greater than or equal to 6.5, but like I said, you can't buy a half a short, so T is equal to, bigger than or equal to 6 is your correct answer. So today your homework is page 118, number 5 through 25 odd. Happy homeworking!